Hello and welcome to yet another tutorial by Davies Media Design. My name is Michael Davies, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a multi-page PDF document. And this is pretty useful in multiple applications. Maybe you're a business owner, maybe you're a student, but for whatever reason you need to put together a multi-page PDF. Maybe you're creating an ebook for something, but regardless of why you're doing this, it's pretty simple to create a multi-page PDF in GIMP. And I'm going to show you how to do it in today's tutorial. But before we get into that, of course, I want to direct you guys over to my website at daviesmediadesign.com. We've got tons of GIMP video and text tutorials on here, as well as Project Translate and our Pull of the Week, so definitely check that out. You can also enroll in our GIMP photo editing course from beginner to pro photo retoucher, and you can shop online on our official DMD merch page, and I'll include a link to this as well as all the relevant links from this tutorial in the description. So I'm going to be using dummy text in this tutorial, and I pretty much just Googled lorem ipsum generator, and this site came up, and I just went ahead and copied, and we'll be pasting this dummy text later in the tutorial, as you'll see. And I also Googled the GIMP logo here. Here's a picture of Wilbur, and this is just a PNG, and we're going to be using this as well. So I went with a pretty simple design for this tutorial just because I want it to be fairly quick. I think the main point of this tutorial is to show you guys how to actually export the PDF as a multi-page PDF. So if we come over here to our layers panel, you'll see we've got 3 layer groups here. And so here's the first layer group. It's the only one that's not hidden right now. And so if I go ahead and unhide the second layer group, which I named page 2 because it's page 2 of our PDF, you'll see here is what is on page 2. And then if I go ahead and hide this third one, page 3, here is page 3. You'll notice page 2 and 3 are pretty much the same. That's just because I duplicated this to save some time. So I'll go ahead and show you guys how I designed these real quick and then how to export these. And the reason I created 3 layer groups all in one composition is because when you go to export this, you're going to choose an option called Export as Layers, and that's going to allow you to export all 3 of these layers onto a single PDF, but as separate pages. And that'll make sense as we get closer to the end. So I'll start by going to File, New to create a new composition. And I changed this to inches, and I set this to 8.5 by 11. That's a standard US paper size. And then if I come down to advanced options, I just changed the resolution here to 300 for both the X and the Y. And that's just assuming we're going to be printing this PDF at some point. So I'll go ahead and click OK. And here's our new composition. So right now we're just on a single layer. And as I mentioned before, these are all in layer groups. So if I go ahead and expand this first layer group, for example, you'll see there's actually several layers within this layer group. And the reason I put them all into layer groups is because if I don't, the PDF generator is essentially going to put each one of these different layers on its own page. So I have to put them all into a single layer group, and I'll show you how I did that. So for starters, I'm just going to go ahead and create that shape. And so I've got 3 shapes total here. So I'll just create a new layer, and I'll name this shape 1. So I'll start by grabbing my lasso tool, and I'm just going to create a polygon here real quick. And make sure you're on the shape 1 layer. And I'll go ahead and connect this and hit the Enter key. And now you'll see we've got the shape with sort of a diagonal line going across. And I'll come over here to my colors, and I'm going to start with this blue color here. And by the way, you can copy this HTML notation if you want to use the same colors as me. So I'll grab my bucket fill tool and fill this in. Again, making sure I'm on my shape 1 layer. And then I'll keep the selection area selected and just create a new layer, and we'll name this shape 2. Again, there's 3 different shapes for our cover page. And so I'm going to come over here and choose a lighter blue. Again, you can copy this HTML notation here, and I'll click OK. And then I'll go ahead and fill the shape 2 in with this color. And then I'll create a third shape layer, name the shape 3. All of these, by the way, are filled with transparency down here. So I'll click OK. And I'll click on this foreground color, change this to a gold color, which you can copy this HTML notation once again. And I'll click OK. And I'll go ahead and fill in this third shape with the gold. So once I've done that, I'll go to Select None. And I'm going to reorder these, but first I want to position these so that the third shape here is actually a little bit lower. And so I'll grab my Move tool, click on the shape, and I'm holding Control to move this down in straight line mode. And then I'll go ahead and hide that, and I'll grab the second shape here, click and drag, and move this down a little bit, not quite as much as I did the third shape. And so now I'll go ahead and unhide this third shape, and let's just move this down a little more, again holding the Control key. All right, so now I want to reorder these. I want this shape 1 to be on the top, shape 2 to be in the middle, like so. And let's just go ahead and move the shape 2 down a little bit more, holding the control key. All right, so now that we've done that, I'm going to go ahead and open up the GIMP logo here. So I'll go to File, and in my case, I'll go to Open Recent, and then I'll open my GIMP logo large. So here's my GIMP logo, and I'll go to Edit, Copy, and then come over here to our PDF and go to Edit, Paste. And this is on a floating selection layer, so I'll just create a new layer to put this on a new layer. Move this to the top so it's above all of our shapes. And then I'm just going to move this to around right here for now. And we'll position this a little bit better once we have our text. And now I'm going to grab my text tool. And I've got the font set to Century Gothic Bold. And so this is sort of like a fictitious ebook. So I just named this, and I have the caps lock key on, How to GIMP. And I want the color of this text to be white. And then I'm going to increase this to about 125. And it could be larger than that, so I'll do, say, 300 for now. Maybe a little less, 275. All right, that looks fine. And I'll just move this text up a little bit. And then I'll add another line of text. And I believe I put a 7-year expert's guide to photo editing, and I hit the enter key. Graphic design. So this is obviously too large, so I'm going to go ahead and just click within this text box, and if I come over here to resize this, it'll resize everything in here. So I'll just change this to 125 and maybe down to 100. And I do want to even out these lines a little bit, so I'll go ahead and click on here and hit the enter key, and that'll put this on the line below. And then I'll go ahead and change this color to white and click OK. And then we can grab our move tool and try to center this up a little bit. And I actually left out some text with this free software. So let me actually move the editing part back onto this first line and then hit enter. All right, there we go. So I'll grab my alignment tool now because I want to align this text to the page here. So I clicked with my alignment tool on the text, and then I'll hit align relative to image and then hit the align center of target. And then come over here to our text box below that and do the same thing. And so now both of these are center aligned here. And I'll go ahead and decrease this text a little bit more. And I have the justify set to center here. That just enables our text to be centered on within the text box. And then I'll go ahead and click on this text box again and then hit align again. And I do want to add a line in between the How to GIMP and this subtitle here. So I'll just click on this with my move tool and move this down a little bit just to leave some room for that line. So go ahead and create a new layer, and I'm going to name this divider because we're going to put the divider line on here. And I'll zoom in a little bit. Grab a guide from up top here and bring it down, and this is going to ensure that we're drawing a straight line with the paths tool. So I'm going to grab my paths tool now, and I'm going to change the color here real quick to black, and making sure this edit mode is set to design. I'm now going to create a point here or a node, and then create another one over here, and then go ahead and hit stroke path. And I'll choose solid color and then keep the line width set to 4 and hit stroke. And now if I grab another tool like the move tool and then move this out of the way, you'll see now we have a divider line here. And I can grab my alignment tool again, click on this divider line. You might have to zoom in a little bit to be able to click on this. And actually let me go to layer, crop to content. That'll crop our layer down just to the size of this divider. And then I'll click on this again and hit the alignment tool. And that should align this now to our page in the center. All right, now that we've done that, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my logo. So I'll go to File, Open Recent, and choose my logo here. Edit Copy. You guys can use your own logo if you want. And edit, paste. And again, paste this as a floating selection. So go ahead and create a new layer there. And let me hide these shapes real quick just so I can grab my logo and move it down here towards the bottom. And then I'll go ahead and unhide these again. And so now there is our cover page. So the issue right now is if I had another page and these were all on their own separate layers like they are right now, if I try to export all of these to a PDF, every single layer would be on its own page. And that's not what I want. I want all these layers to be on one page. So I'll go ahead and come up to the top here and create a layer group. And I'll name this layer group page 1. And now I can go ahead and I'll start at the bottom. And I'm going to put all of these layers into the page 1 group. And I just do that by clicking and dragging, and then I hover over the layer group here, the layer group folder. And you'll see that when I hover over it, it'll create a box around the entire layer group, and then you can just release your mouse and that will drop these layers into that layer group. And the reason I started from the bottom is you'll see that as I drag each layer in, it's putting that layer that I dragged in on the top. You can always rearrange these within the layer group if you want, but it's just easier to do it the first time. So now if I hide this layer group, you'll see everything that we've done to this point is now within that layer group, and so everything hides, but I can unhide that as well. And so there is our first page of our PDF. I can go ahead and collapse this now, and that helps us clean this up a little bit. And now we can start on our second page. So the second page is pretty easy. I'm going to start by creating a new layer, and I'll name this page 2 background. And then I'm going to fill this actually with white, and I'll click OK. And so that actually put this layer automatically into the other layer group, but we don't want that to be the case, so I'll just drag this out of the layer group. And now the page 2 background is on its own layer. And I'm going to grab my zoom tool and actually zoom out here a little bit. And so if you'll remember, I'll come back over here to our composition, the finished one. If I unhide the page 2, I've just got a graphic going over the corner here with the Wilbur logo. And then I've got the page number down here, and I actually started with 1 because I didn't include the cover page as page 1. And then I've just got some text here and then my logo in the corner, so I'm just going to do that real quick. And so the first thing I'm going to do on this page is go ahead and come over here to our GIMP logo, edit copy that, come back over here and edit paste, and click to put this on its own new layer. And I'll just name this GIMP logo to simplify things. And I'll click and drag this over to the top corner here. And let me actually grab my scale tool, click on here, and just drag this down a little bit. And that'll shrink this logo down. It's a bit too big for this page. And then I'll hit scale. And now I want to draw the corner graphic, so I'll just create a new layer. And I've already got this named top corner shape. And I'm going to fill it with transparency. So just choose transparency and click OK. Grab your lasso tool, and I'm going to draw this triangle shape behind the GIMP logo. I do want some of the paintbrush to just come off of it a little bit to give it some dimension. So go ahead and click and draw right here, and then maybe have it come up over here, and then just connect these final points, hit the Enter key. Grab the bucket fill tool and choose blue as the color again. You can copy this HTML notation here and click OK. And then go ahead and click inside here to fill that, and then go to select none, and we'll click and drag this below the GIMP logo layer. So now we've got a nice simple corner graphic here. You can always move this GIMP logo if you want, reposition it with the move tool. And now I'm going to add in our text, so I'll grab my text tool, and you can click and drag to create a text box, and that way all of your text will stay within this area. And then I'll just type some fictitious text here, so Chapter 1, the basics. And I'm going to click over here on the left side here and choose Justify Left. That'll make sure our text is justified to the left side of this text box. And I've actually got a typo here. Now I'll hit the Enter key. And now I want to go ahead and copy and paste this dummy text. So I'll come over here to our Lorem Ipsum webpage and hit Control C. So I've gone ahead and highlighted all this and hit Control C to copy. And then come over here and hit Control V to paste. And I want this text to be a little smaller, so we'll go ahead and highlight it. And we'll change the size, let's say 40. Actually, Control Z, I only want to change the size of this text, so I'll have to come over here and use this. So I'll hit 40 on there. And it's a little small, so let me change that to 50. And I'll go ahead and copy this paragraph a few times. Again, this is all dummy text, so it doesn't matter. And if I want my cutoff for my text box to be where this paragraph ends, I can go ahead and click and drag this text box up a little bit. And now I'm going to reposition this. So I'll grab my move tool and reposition this text, put it right there. And a couple things left to do. I'm going to put the page number in the corner, and then I'm going to add my logo in the other corner. So we'll start with the logo, edit, copy, come back here, edit, paste, and then I'll put this logo on a new layer, and I'll just name this DMD logo. And I'll use my move tool to move this to the top right. And now I'm going to create a new layer, and we'll name this bottom corner shape. And with that layer selected, I'll grab my lasso tool again, and this time we're going to draw a triangle in the bottom corner, and we're going to go ahead and hit the enter key. Then I'll grab the gold color here as my foreground color. Again, you can copy this HTML notation. And I'll grab my bucket fill tool and fill that in. Select none. And now I'll grab my text tool, click on here, and I'll type the number 1. You guys can type 2 if you want the cover page to be counted as the first page. And then I'll come over here to color, change this to white. And then I'm going to increase the size of this a little bit here, grab my move tool, and go ahead and move this right there. All right, so there's our second page. Again, we have to put all these layers into the same layer group, otherwise they're all going to be put onto separate pages in our PDF. So I'll create a new layer group and name this page 2. I'll move this to the top here, and now I will click and drag all of these layers into our second page. And now I can go ahead and collapse this, and we've cleaned this up again. And so we've got our first page, our cover page, which if you want to preview this, you can just hide your second layer group here. And then the page 2 layer group is our second page on our PDF. And now if I want the third page to have the same layout, all I have to do is come over here and click this duplicate icon. And now we have a third page that's laid out the same way as the second page is. And then I can just change this to page 3. And if I want, I can come over here and customize this to say chapter 2. Maybe type advanced. And then come down here and change the page number to 2 using my text tool. And then hypothetically, I can come back here and add custom text or whatever I need to do. All right, so we've got our 3-page PDF set up here. And again, I'll hide page 3. Page 2, and then here's page 1. And let me unhide those. So now that we've finished designing our PDF, we want to export this, but we want all of these to be on separate pages. So we want this to be a 3-page PDF. To do that, all I have to do is go to File, Export As, and I'll come down here to select file type by extension, and I can scroll down until I get to PDF, which is right here. Or I can just type .pdf after my file name, and then I'll just name this GIMP book PDF. And again, this is a fictitious book. And then I'll go ahead and hit export. And now right here is the key. So if you're exporting multiple PDF pages like we are in this tutorial, go ahead and check that layers as pages box. And then if you did this backwards, like let's say page 1 is at the top and page 3 is at the bottom, just go ahead and check the reverse the pages order, and that will reverse the order that we've got it in right now. But in our case, we don't need to do that because we've put this in the right order. If you're only exporting your composition to one PDF page, just go ahead and uncheck this. But in our case, again, we've got multiple pages, so I'll check that. And then I'll go ahead and hit export. And now our composition is exported to a PDF. So I went ahead and opened this up just to show you guys. And I can scroll down. So here is our first page, our cover page. And then here is our second page here, chapter 1. And you can see our page number down here. And if I keep scrolling down, here is page 3 or page 2 if you don't want to count the cover page. And so it says chapter 2, page 2. And so there you have it. Alright, so that's it for this tutorial. If you liked it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/daviesmediadesign. You can also visit our website at daviesmediadesign.com. You can enroll in our GIMP photo editing course from beginner to pro photo retoucher on Udemy, and you can check out our merch page, and I'll include a link to all of those items and all of the relevant links from this tutorial in the description. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.